All right, a new era is upon us in college football. The 12-team playoff is here, starting this August. And I'm going to give you the best games for each week to watch in college football this year. And guys, I was up 12 hours last night going through data analytics, trying to find the best game for each week. And my eyes are bloodshot red, and I've had no water. But we're doing this morning. I'm going to give you the best game for week 0 through week 14 in college football. Starting in week 0, that's like August 23rd this year. We love week 0. And it's Florida State and Georgia Tech. I think this game's in Ireland, actually. And it's a noon start time on ESPN. So the first game of the year is a noon game on ESPN. And I think it's like a 6 o'clock game out in Ireland. And it should be a decent game. There's like 4 games this weekend, so this one's definitely the best one for week 0. And FSU should be favored by like 10 points in this game. Going to week 1, the opening weekend of college football, technically. And the big one, another noon game, Georgia versus Clemson. So this should be a top maybe 10 or 15 matchup here. I know Georgia's going to be like the number 1 team in the country, maybe 2 or 3, honestly. And Clemson, obviously no transfers there, so we'll see. They're kind of, you don't know with Clemson these days, but Georgia's going to be a top-tier team again. Carson Beck, the nutcracker, taking the field again. And can they get back to the national title game this year? We'll see. How about week 2? Another noon game. Yes, big noon on Fox. And it's Texas traveling to Michigan. This is going to be a great game, actually. Probably a top 10 matchup, maybe a top 5 matchup. You have Quinn Ewers going on the road to a kind of a reloaded Michigan team. We'll see how they do this year with the new coach, Moore. And that's a noon game on Fox. Going to week 3. And finally, a primetime game on ABC. Yes, the SEC on ABC. It's Georgia traveling to Kentucky. That's going to be a fun game at nighttime. Probably the number 1 team in the country going on the road to Kentucky. Like Kroger Field. It's going to be lit on Saturday Night Football. How about week 4? An SEC matchup. Tennessee and Oklahoma. Yes, this is going to be an electric atmosphere in Norman, Oklahoma. How about week 5? Another primetime ABC game. It's the Georgia-Alabama. So this is a rematch of the SEC championship game last year. And can Georgia get their revenge this year? I think probably with the new coach at Alabama. We'll see if he can handle that SEC. How about Michigan at Washington? To be determined, the time. A very big game in the Big Ten, actually. I would guess it'll be a primetime game, probably 7, 8 o'clock kickoff time, probably on NBC or something like that, maybe on Fox. Yeah, it'll be a fun game. Very good atmosphere out there in Washington. And then week 7, on the halfway point of the season, Ohio State travels to Oregon, another West Coast game in the Big Ten, and it's going to be a huge hyped-up game. I think Ohio State was supposed to go to Oregon in 2020, and that was canceled due to the pandemic. So finally they go to Oregon. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be electric on probably CBS, maybe like 8 o'clock that night. We'll see. How about week 8, Alabama at Tennessee? So this is a rematch of that 2022 game that featured the best field storming of all time. Honestly, that game was one of the best college football games I've ever seen in my life. Tennessee won late in that game, knocked Alabama out. Unbelievable matchup. The rematch here. And it's going to be a fun atmosphere, probably on ESPN or ABC. Hopefully primetime. Get up a night game there in October. And then week 9, Penn State, Wisconsin. So a fun little Big Ten game here. Penn State going to the Badger. What's the stadium called there? Camp Randall. Is it Camp Randall? It's going to be crazy. They're going to be jumping around in late October, probably on Big Ten Network or something. Maybe on Fox. I don't know. Another Penn State game, week 10. So this one's probably going to be the whiteout. Ohio State out Penn State. Probably a top 10 matchup. I could see Penn State being undefeated going into this game in week 10. It's going to be nuts in Happy Valley. How about week 11? Florida State at Notre Dame on NBC. Now, Florida State's getting some hype this season. Probably a top 10 team coming into the year. And we'll see how they are by week 11. But this should be a good game regardless. I think there's some other good games this weekend as well, but I wanted to choose kind of a non-SEC, non-Big Ten game. So I found this one. It should be a very fun game on Saturday night. How about week 12? Kansas and BYU. So I put this one in here because I think at this point in the season, Kansas will be a top 10 team. They might have one loss by this point in the Big 12. So we'll have a highly ranked Kansas team going on the road to BYU in a conference matchup. And I'm seeing BYU being a fringe top 25 team this year. So this should be a pretty good game. Maybe College Game Day goes to Brigham Young for this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. But probably the biggest game of the year in the Big 12, the newly formed Big 12 conference. And then week 13, Alabama at Oklahoma. SEC matchup, yes. It's going to be so weird seeing Alabama travel to Oklahoma. Should be a fun game. I think the last time these teams played, it was like Kyler Murray and like Jalen Hurts or somebody in the playoff like 5 years ago. That was a blowout, but yeah, this should be interesting. In week 13, we'll see if Oklahoma's still in the top 25 by that point. I think they should be. And then the last one I have here is the game, Ohio State and Michigan. I know it's been 5 years since Ohio State beat Michigan, but this year they should be favored at home, and it'll be a fun game. Probably a top 5 matchup again, like it always is, and a big noon on Fox. So guys, that's really it for this video. It's my first college football game, or video of this year. It's only June right now when I'm filming this, so we'll see how things change over the summer. But we've seen most of the transfer portal stuff end by now, so we should have a good idea of the rankings and stuff for this upcoming year. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.